Have you ever encountered someone whose presence, no matter how charismatic, seems to dim the light within you? Tonight, let us explore a delicate, often misunderstood phenomenon, the idea that some people in our lives may be sent by forces that do not serve our higher good. Life is a tapestry of connections, and every thread we weave through relationships either strengthens or weakens the fabric of our being. Yet amidst this dance of unity and separation, there exists a shadow, a duality that reminds us not all connections are fortuitous. Some individuals, like wolves cloaked in sheep's clothing, appear to bring companionship but instead leave us stranded in a labyrinth of doubt and disarray. They thrive on the illusion of attraction, drawing us closer with superficial charm, yet beneath their smiles lies a subtle chaos. Their influence can destabilize the rhythm of your life, leaving you wondering where your peace has gone. Consider those who manipulate through seemingly caring words, urging you to second-guess yourself. They play the role of confidant, but their true aim is control. These are the hands that, instead of lifting you higher, weigh you down with their demands and criticisms. How can we recognize these presences? Through the energy they bring, or rather the energy they take. Relationships aligned with your spirit feel expansive. They allow you to breathe freely and grow. But those tainted with negativity constrict your heart, erode your boundaries, and tempt you away from your values with whispers of fleeting pleasures. Not every turbulent relationship stems from malice. Sometimes they reflect the shadows within ourselves, urging us to confront what we fear. But discernment is crucial. Your intuition, that quiet voice within, knows the difference between a connection that challenges you to grow and one that leads you astray. The devil, as some call it, does not come with horns and fire, but with subtle invitations to abandon your truth. To walk away from those who disrupt your peace is not an act of judgment, but one of self-respect. So tonight I leave you with this thought: the power to discern lies within. Trust your spirit to recognize when someone in your life is there to guide you or to mislead you. When you honor this awareness, you safeguard the sanctity of your soul. Relationships are the fabric of human existence, yet within their intricate weave lies a profound duality. Every connection we form, no matter how joyous or painful, carries the potential to shape us in ways both constructive and destructive. This duality is not inherently good or bad. It is simply the nature of relationships, mirroring the paradoxical essence of life itself. When we encounter someone, our initial reaction often springs from attraction or repulsion, yet these feelings are merely surface reflections. Beneath them lies a deeper interplay of energies that can either elevate or diminish us. Some relationships inspire growth, pushing us to expand beyond our perceived limitations. They challenge us, but their challenges feel purposeful, like the resistance that strengthens a muscle. Others, however, seem to draw us into patterns of conflict, doubt, or despair, draining the very essence of who we are. Yet it is rarely this black and white. Even the most nourishing relationships may have moments of strain, while those that cause pain might offer valuable lessons. Herein lies the complexity of duality. Every person who enters our lives has the potential to be both a teacher and a test. Their role is not static, it evolves with our perceptions and choices. Consider how easily love can become dependence, or how the comfort of companionship might turn into complacency. On the other hand, even relationships that bring us suffering can awaken resilience or clarity within us. The duality lies in recognizing that relationships are not merely about the other person, they are mirrors reflecting our own inner dynamics. The harmony or discord we perceive is often a projection of our inner state. This perspective does not absolve us from discerning harmful influences. There are individuals whose presence consistently disrupts our peace, not as a result of temporary misunderstandings, but because of the energy they bring into our lives. Their actions may be manipulative, their words laced with subtle toxicity, or their intentions rooted in self-interest. These relationships are a reminder of the destructive side of duality forces that compel us to draw boundaries and protect the sanctity of our spirit. Still, we must avoid the trap of labeling people as wholly good or bad. Just as relationships are dynamic, so too are individuals. The same person who once uplifted us might later hold us back, or vice versa. The lesson lies in awareness, recognizing the shifts and having the courage to adapt accordingly. Ultimately, the duality of relationships invites us to embrace their complexity without fear or judgment. By doing so, we honor their role as sacred teachers, whether they bring joy, pain, or a mixture of both. In this understanding, we find the freedom to cherish connections that uplift us and release those that no longer serve our journey. Attraction is one of life's most intoxicating experiences. It sweeps us into a current of emotion and desire, often before we've had the chance to fully understand its source. There's a magnetic quality to it, a force that draws us toward people who captivate our attention, ignite our senses, or fulfill some unspoken yearning within. But like a mirage in the desert, attraction can be an illusion, beautiful and compelling from a distance, but deceptive when approached too closely. Attraction often stems from what is seen on the surface. Physical beauty, charm, wit, or confidence can act as powerful triggers, engaging our minds and hearts before we've had the opportunity to assess the substance beneath. In many ways, it is a form of projection. We see in others what we want to see, often layering them with our own expectations, fantasies, or ideals. This can create an image that feels authentic but is, in truth, shaped more by our desires than their reality. The illusion lies in mistaking this initial spark for a deeper connection. We may confuse the thrill of novelty with compatibility, or the allure of charisma with kindness and integrity. Someone who speaks eloquently may not always have wisdom, just as someone who exudes confidence may not always have genuine self-awareness. These external qualities, while appealing, can obscure deeper truths about a person's character and intentions. One of the reasons attraction can be so misleading is its ability to bypass rational thought. The pull of attraction often activates our emotional and instinctual responses, overriding the quieter voice of intuition or reason. This is why people sometimes find themselves drawn to relationships that, in hindsight, seem obviously unsuitable or even harmful. The illusion is so potent that it clouds judgment, convincing us to ignore red flags or to rationalize behaviors that contradict our values. This is not to say that all attraction is deceitful. On the contrary, attraction can be a gateway to profound and meaningful connections. But the key is to approach it with awareness. Attraction, like a spark, can start a fire, but whether that fire warms or burns depends on how we nurture it. If we allow ourselves to be guided solely by the initial intensity of our feelings, we risk building relationships on unstable foundations. The true challenge lies in distinguishing between attraction that enriches us and attraction that leads us astray. This requires patience, self-reflection, and the willingness to look beyond appearances. What draws us to someone might reveal more about our own unmet needs or unresolved fears than about the person themselves. By understanding what fuels our attraction, we gain the clarity to discern whether it aligns with our highest good. At its core, the illusion of attraction teaches us to look deeper. It invites us to move beyond the surface, to see not only the beauty or charm of another, but the essence of who they are. In doing so, we free ourselves from the seductive pull of illusion and open the door to authentic and lasting connections. Chaos, when it becomes a constant companion, has a way of unraveling the fabric of our lives. It is not the occasional turbulence that everyone experiences, but a persistent state of disorder and instability brought into our space by certain individuals. So these people seem to carry chaos with them as if it were part of their essence, leaving a trail of confusion, conflict, and emotional exhaustion wherever they go. Their presence disrupts the natural flow of life, creating an atmosphere where peace and clarity are perpetually out of reach. The hallmark of such chaos is its relentless nature. It's not about disagreements or difficult moments which are normal in any relationship. Rather, it's about a pattern, an ongoing series of dramas, misunderstandings, and upheavals that never seem to resolve. These individuals often thrive in this turbulence, consciously or unconsciously pulling others into their whirlwind. They may create crises where none existed, escalate minor issues into major conflicts, or introduce tension into moments that should bring joy. What makes chaos so insidious is its subtle infiltration. At first, it may seem like bad luck or a series of unfortunate coincidences. You might rationalize their behavior, attributing it to stress, past trauma, or circumstances beyond their control. But over time, a pattern emerges. Wherever they go, chaos follows. It becomes clear that their instability is not just circumstantial but integral to who they are. Living with someone who embodies chaos often feels like walking on a tightrope. You find yourself constantly adjusting, trying to maintain balance in an environment where none exists. And their unpredictable moods, erratic decisions, and frequent crises demand your energy and attention, leaving little room for your own needs or growth. This dynamic can be emotionally draining as you are perpetually on edge, anticipating the next disruption. More troubling is the way chaos can erode your sense of self. Over time, you may begin to internalize their instability, questioning your own perceptions and decisions. This is especially true if they deflect responsibility for their actions, blaming others or circumstances for the turmoil they create. In such relationships, it's easy to lose sight of your own boundaries, values, and peace, becoming entangled in their disorder. However, it's important to recognize that chaos, like any force, has something to teach us. Its presence is often a signal to examine the role we play in allowing it into our lives. Do we tolerate it because of fear, guilt, or a misplaced sense of loyalty? Are we hoping they will change, or are we drawn to the excitement their unpredictability brings? Understanding our own patterns is the first step in breaking free from the grip of chaos. To distance yourself from constant chaos is not an act of rejection, but of self-preservation. It's a choice to prioritize your own well-being and create space for harmony and stability. Life will always have its storms, but when chaos ceases to be a companion, you gain the clarity and strength to weather them without losing yourself. Manipulation is one of the most insidious forces in human relationships, particularly because it often comes disguised. It does not announce itself loudly or obviously. Instead, it operates subtly, weaving its influence into the very fabric of interactions. Those who manipulate rarely appear as overt aggressors. More often, they present themselves as allies, protectors, or even victims, crafting a narrative that makes their actions seem justified or benign. This disguise is what makes manipulation so effective and ultimately so damaging. One of the most common disguises of manipulation is emotional dependency. Manipulators often present themselves as needing your help, love, or validation to an exaggerated degree. They position themselves as vulnerable, evoking your sympathy and compassion. While there is nothing wrong with supporting someone in need, manipulators exploit this dynamic, subtly making you feel responsible for their well-being. Over time, this can trap you in a cycle of giving more than you can sustain while receiving little in return. Another subtle form of manipulation is the distortion of truth. Manipulators excel at twisting facts or presenting information in ways that serve their narrative. They may omit key details, exaggerate certain aspects, or frame situations to cast themselves in a favorable light. This can lead to confusion, self-doubt, and a sense that you're always in the wrong, even when your instincts tell you otherwise. Gaslighting, a particularly harmful form of manipulation, takes this a step further by causing you to question your perception of reality. Manipulators also rely heavily on guilt. They might remind you of past favors or sacrifices they've made, using these as leverage to make you feel indebted. Their requests often come cloaked in statements like, "After everything I've done for you," or "if you really cared about me." These tactics prey on your sense of morality, making it difficult to say no without feeling as though you're letting them down. Perhaps the most dangerous aspect of manipulation in disguise is its ability to erode your boundaries. Manipulators are skilled at finding the cracks in your defenses, gradually pushing the limits of what you are willing to tolerate. This might start with small, seemingly harmless requests, but escalates over time as they test how much they can control. To counter manipulation, awareness is essential. Recognizing the tactics and trusting your intuition are key to breaking free from the manipulative cycle. Boundaries must be established and maintained, even if doing so feels uncomfortable or meets resistance. Ultimately, protecting your autonomy is not only an act of self-respect, but a way to ensure that your relationships are built on genuine care and mutual respect, free from the shadow of disguised control. The energy of entanglement is a complex, often overwhelming force in relationships. It is the sensation of being caught in a web where the lines between you and another person blur, creating an emotional, mental, and sometimes spiritual bond that feels both inescapable and suffocating. Unlike healthy connections which allow for mutual growth and respect, entanglement is marked by a sense of being stuck, as if the relationship exists not to nurture but to drain. Entanglement begins subtly. It often arises in relationships where boundaries are unclear or unacknowledged. You might feel responsible for the other person's happiness, decisions, or even failures. Over time, this responsibility can grow into an unhealthy dynamic where your own needs and identity are overshadowed by theirs. What starts as care or love can evolve into dependency, with both parties feeding off the energy of the other in ways that hinder individuality and autonomy. One of the hallmarks of entanglement is imbalance. In such relationships, one person often takes on the role of the giver, constantly sacrificing their time, energy, and emotional well-being. The other, whether consciously or unconsciously, becomes the taker, relying on the giver to fulfill their needs without reciprocating in meaningful ways. This creates a lopsided dynamic that leaves the giver depleted and the taker enabled in their dependency. The energy of entanglement also thrives on emotional intensity. These relationships are often marked by dramatic highs and lows, passionate moments of connection followed by periods of tension, conflict, or withdrawal. This cycle creates a sense of addiction to the relationship, as the highs feel so euphoric that they temporarily mask the pain of the lows. Over time, this volatility becomes normalized, making it difficult to recognize the unhealthy patterns at play. Entanglement is particularly draining because it operates on a deep energetic level. It's not just about what's said or done, but about the unspoken agreements and emotional undercurrents that keep the relationship in place. You may find yourself thinking about the other person constantly, feeling their emotions as if they were your own, or making decisions based on their needs rather than your own desires. This enmeshment can leave you feeling disconnected from yourself, as though your identity has been subsumed by the relationship. Breaking free from the energy of entanglement requires courage and self-awareness. The first step is recognizing the signs, acknowledging that the relationship is not fostering mutual growth, but instead creating cycles of dependency and depletion. This awareness can be painful, as it often involves confronting uncomfortable truths about the dynamics you've been a part of. Setting boundaries is essential. This doesn't necessarily mean ending the relationship, although that may be necessary in some cases. It means reclaiming your sense of self, establishing limits on what you're willing to give, and prioritizing your own well-being. It's a process of disentangling, which can feel difficult at first, but ultimately brings freedom, clarity, and peace. When you free yourself from the energy of entanglement, you open the door to healthier, more balanced connections, relationships rooted in mutual respect, where both individuals can thrive without losing themselves. Intuition is one of the most profound gifts we possess, a quiet yet powerful guide that often whispers truths before our rational mind can fully grasp them. It is not loud or forceful, but subtle, arriving as a feeling, a nudge, or an inexplicable knowing that seems to come from nowhere. Yet, despite its quiet nature, intuition has the potential to shape the most significant decisions of our lives, offering clarity and direction in ways that logic and analysis alone cannot. The importance of intuition lies in its ability to perceive beyond the surface. While the mind relies on facts, evidence, and reason, intuition draws from a deeper well-one informed by past experiences, subconscious patterns, and an innate connection to the energies around us. It has a way of synthesizing information that the conscious mind may overlook, providing insights that often feel more accurate than anything reasoned out. In relationships, intuition is an invaluable compass. It alerts us to unspoken truths and hidden dynamics, helping us sense when something feels off, even if we can't articulate why. Perhaps you've met someone who seems charming and kind, yet something about their presence makes you uneasy. This is intuition at work, guiding you to question what lies beneath the surface. Similarly, it can affirm positive connections, providing a deep sense of trust and alignment that transcends explanation. Ignoring intuition often comes at a cost. How many times have we looked back on a situation and thought, I should have trusted my gut? This regret highlights how intuition often speaks to us early, before the full consequences of a situation unfold. When we dismiss these inner warnings in favor of logic or external opinions, we risk making choices that lead to unnecessary pain or complication. Yet, trusting intuition requires practice and courage. In a world that prizes logic and evidence, listening to a feeling can seem irrational or even irresponsible. Many of us have been conditioned to doubt our inner voice, dismissing it as baseless or untrustworthy. Reconnecting with intuition, therefore, involves unlearning these habits of doubt and reacquainting ourselves with our inner knowing. Cultivating intuition begins with stillness. In the noise and busyness of daily life, it can be difficult to hear the whispers of your inner voice. Practices such as meditation, mindfulness, or simply spending quiet time alone allow you to tune into your inner world, creating space for intuition to emerge. Paying attention to your body is another key, as intuition often manifests through physical sensations, a tightening in the chest, a flutter in the stomach, or a sense of ease and calm. Once you begin to trust your intuition, you'll find that it strengthens over time. Each decision made in alignment with your inner voice builds confidence, reinforcing your ability to discern truth in the absence of tangible evidence. This trust is transformative, empowering you to navigate life with greater clarity and confidence. Intuition is not infallible, but it is a vital partner to reason. Together, they form a balanced approach to life, ensuring that your choices honor both the wisdom of the mind and the deep knowing of the soul. Listening to your intuition is ultimately an act of self-respect, a way of honoring the inner compass that always has your best interest at heart.